All right, let's talk about turbulence. If you're one of the many people whose stomach just drops at the thought of a bumpy flight, well, this is for you. Today, we're going to take that fear, that anxiety, and turn it into a real understanding of what's actually going on up there at 35,000 feet. So let's get into it. Yeah, that feeling, we've all been there, right? The little rattle, that dip, maybe your drink does a little shimmy. It's totally normal to feel a surge of anxiety. I mean, our brains are basically hardwired to think, hey, unexpected movement equals danger. But here's the thing, that feeling is based on your perception, not on the reality of flying. So let's tackle this head on. Why does turbulence feel so much worse than it actually is? It really all comes down to the huge gap between what our body is telling us and what the plane is really doing. And this is where it gets really fascinating. That heart in your throat feeling, like you're dropping 1,000 feet, in reality, it's usually just a 10 or 20-foot change in altitude. I mean, that's less than the height of a two-story house. The reason it feels so dramatic is all about acceleration forces. The plane isn't falling, it's just navigating. Think of it less like a crisis and more like a car's suspension handling a few potholes. It's literally the same principle. Okay, so to really get over the fear, you gotta understand what's causing it, right? Once you know what turbulence actually is, it stops being this big, scary monster in the closet and just becomes, well, weather. Right, so here's the key takeaway. The air up there isn't perfectly smooth, not at all. It's better to think of the sky as this huge, invisible ocean. It's got currents, it's got waves, and turbulence is just the plane flying through a few of those waves. It's not a sign that something's wrong, it's a completely normal part of the atmosphere. And you know, these potholes in the sky come in a few different, totally predictable types. You've got clear air turbulence, which you can't even see, turbulence from air rolling over mountains. The point is, pilots know all about these. They're not some chaotic surprise. They're known variables with very common natural causes. And what causes them? Well, it's all pretty natural stuff. You've got these super fast rivers of air called jet streams. You've got thunderstorms. You even get it when warm and cold air meet. These are the engines that create turbulence. And because pilots know what causes it, they know where to expect it. And that's the first step to giving you a smoother ride. All right, so we've established the air can be bumpy. It's normal. But what about the plane? Can it handle it? Oh yeah. And this is where we shift from talking about the weather to talking about some absolutely mind-blowing engineering. No, really, think about it for a sec. You look out the window and you see these long, graceful wings. But what do you think they could actually withstand? I can pretty much guarantee you the answer is way, way more than you think. Look at this. This is incredible. For a plane to even be allowed to fly with passengers, its wings have to pass a test where they are bent upwards to almost a perfect right angle. And they don't break. They are designed with this unbelievable flexibility and strength. So the worst turbulence you could ever experience, it would only flex those wings a tiny, teeny fraction of what they're built to handle. The plane is made for this. So let's be super clear. If the plane itself is totally fine, what's the actual risk? It's you. Well, more specifically, it's you without your seatbelt on. The real reason the flight attendants are so serious about keeping that belt fastened is to keep you from getting bumped around the cabin. It has nothing to do with the safety of the plane itself. Okay, let's take a quick peek into the cockpit. For pilots, turbulence isn't some crazy emergency. It's Tuesday. It's a manageable, everyday part of flying, and they have a whole bunch of tools and procedures to deal with it smoothly. You know, pilots are never flying blind into this stuff. They've got sophisticated weather radar to see and fly around storms. They get forecasts that predict where turbulence is going to be. They even get live, real-time reports from other pilots up ahead. And if the ride does get a little bumpy, they just get on the radio to air traffic control and ask to climb, descend, or just shift their route a few miles to find that smoother air. It's all part of the job. So we know the plane is incredibly safe. And we know the pilots are completely in control. The final piece of this puzzle is you. Let's talk about a few simple, practical things you can do to manage the experience and take back control of your own comfort. First off, if you can, try to get a seat over the wings. That's the plane's center of gravity, so you'll feel the bumps the least there. And I'm going to say it again, keep that seatbelt fastened whenever you're seated. If you start to feel anxious, just look at the flight attendants. If they're walking around calmly, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. And little things like drinking water instead of coffee and taking some slow, deep breaths, they make a huge difference. But honestly, the biggest thing is to just trust. Trust the professionals up front and trust the incredible machine you're flying in. When you get right down to it, turbulence isn't something we need to fear. It's just something to understand. Knowing the science, knowing how safe the planes are, it gives you the power to completely reframe the experience. So the next time that seatbelt sign dings on, what's it going to be? Are you going to listen to that old primal fear? Or are you going to remember the proven physics? The choice is yours.